Let's please bring in TSN's Jim Barker. Janarian Grant sparked the Argos with a 103-yard kick return touchdown as the Toronto Argonauts upset Montreal 37-18 to hand the Alouettes their first loss of the CFL season. Jim was on the panel for it. I watched some of it because I was calling baseball. Nobody picked the Argos. Well, I didn't pick the Argos winning last night, Jim. What did you think of how that all played out?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. When Cody Fajardo went out, it changed the game. It was back and forth, and Ryan was calling a game. I felt it was a huge game for Cameron Dukes after the two good games where they protected him. Then the game against Saskatchewan last week, they're tied going to the fourth quarter. He doesn't, he tried to do too much, turned it over, threw a pick six, cost him the game. I mean, it was a tie score going in. I didn't know if Saskatchewan could score with Shea Pedersen, but Cam Dukes did it for him. He came back in this game, and basically he was able to manage the game, do exactly what he and Shea Pedersen and now Caleb Evans, these backup quarterbacks, they need to come in and manage the game and not lose games. They haven't shown yet, and they're probably not at the point where you go into a game and say, this guy's going to win the game for us. I mean, Dukes, again, people forget he's a backup quarterback, and it's his first year starting, and I think it's one of those things that we got spoiled by Chad Kelly, who in his first year takes the team to 16 wins. Well, that doesn't happen. So that game with Montreal-Toronto was going to go right down to the wire, I felt like Toronto's defense was playing well, and when Cody went down, you could just feel the air go out, and then Caleb Evans and he's backed up and he throws the pick six, and then Janarian Grant, and Montreal answered, but then Janarian Grant goes and breaks away. He's the best in the league at that returning, and to think that he was just out on the street, Winnipeg didn't want him, nobody wanted him, and Toronto picked him up at the end of training camp. It was Vince Magri's last thing he did was go after him. So it was a great move, and they now, I believe, have the best returner in the league. And it's a team that has to hang on. I don't believe that he's going to be ready this year, Cam Dukes, to win Grey Cups, where he's the guy who can win the game for you. I believe, and Ryan Dinwiddie came out and said Chad Kelly's going to be the quarterback when he comes back. So, when that happens, they'll be a different team. Week 17, Montreal, led by Cody Fajardo, who didn't play, Mark Lacroix, who didn't play, against Toronto, who had Chad Kelly, who didn't play, Flo Arimolade, who didn't play, Jake Ceresna, who didn't play. And week 17 could be for everything. I mean, it sets up, because they've split, it's the rubber game. That game is going to mean everything going into the playoffs. One team's going to win and get the bye into the final, and the other team is going to have to go through the hard way and go through, whoever, whether it's a crossover or Ottawa or Hamilton, they're going to have to go through there to get there. So I think it sets up for a great end of the season, and I thought the game just came out, how you might expect if Cody goes out, because on your poll about who the most valuable is, without question, the East Division nominee is Cody Fajardo. I said that yesterday when I introduced him as there's nobody else to even talk about but Cody Fajardo. And I think in the West, it's Vernon Adams. I think Cody has a better defense behind him. I would probably lean to Vernon Adams now, but not by much. And again, the biggest ability a MOP can have is availability. And how long is he going to be out? I think Davis Sanchez had a great point last night. When you think your hamstring is ready, take another week. And I know Cody, like Cody, he's going to want to get out there as soon as he can. It kills him to not play. And if he rushes back and it becomes a nagging thing or the next one's worse. So I hope he takes the time and gets it right before he comes back. And they have a bye this week, just at a perfect time. And again, they'll probably have time to know the severity of it and whether or not they get a game plan together for Caleb Evans, which will obviously be different than a Cody Fajardo game plan.
The $64,000 question. Are you prepared to blame short weeks on injuries such as what Cody Fajardo suffered?
Absolutely
on
not.
Thursday night?
When I came into the league,
Me either.
We had the Monday, Friday turnaround. And this was a Saturday, Thursday. They actually had an extra day. And again, that's, first it was McLeod Bethel Thompson crying about it, and now Jason Moss. And you know what? The Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday has been a huge thing for this league. It's been huge in terms of viewership, in terms of getting following. And you're going to come out and complain about it because you have the occasional short week where you're playing on the Thursday. Get over it, man. I think it's bad for the league. It's a bad look to have guys talking about it in a negative way.
Couldn't agree more.
My opinion.
Thank you. Thank you. Tonight, Calgary at Winnipeg. The Bombers have thrown one touchdown all year, and Strevler threw it. I got Calgary picked to win tonight. I know Zach's back for Winnipeg. What's your thoughts?
Well, I thought Winnipeg got back to a little bit of who they were last week. That was a game plan designed for Chris Strevler. Zach Collaros cannot run that game plan. That's not for him. Until Zach Collaros shows me that he can have some comfort in the pocket and that he can show some reliability on these receivers. I mean, the key to quarterbacking in this league is you have to anticipate your throws. If you throw late because of the quickness of the athletes, receivers get killed, balls get batted down and intercepted. And his timing has not been right. So until Zach shows me he's back and they can actually throw the ball in addition to, being able to use Brady Oliveira, because he won't run as well with Zach as the quarterback because of the threat Strevler gives you and forcing the linebackers to play softer so that they can, adapt once they see the ball. Where with Zach, they know he's not carrying the ball around the edge, so they can close a little faster. So it's much easier to run the ball when Strevler's your quarterback than it is when Zach's your quarterback. Now, with that being said, if Zach can get to throwing the ball again, that can loosen the linebackers up and now make the running game much more effective. But with a Zach playing the way he's played, they can't be the kind of team they want to be. He has to be able to complete those intermediate passes, those 15-yard dig routes, those deep crossers to Dembski, the occasional, go route to the wide route, whether it's Wolotarski or, whoever's playing this week. They've lost Lawler and they've lost Schoen, so they don't have those guys, and that's hurt them badly. So until Zach shows me that there's some kind of comfort in the passing game and he can actually move the club, it's hard for me to get on the Winnipeg bandwagon. As much as I think their defense played outstanding last week against Ottawa, I thought they just did a fantastic job. Again, they're playing Crum, not Drew Brown. So it was a little bit different task. Tonight they'll play Jake Mayer. What is Calgary? They're up by 12 points going into the fourth quarter, and they lose that game last week to Montreal. But played right with them, basically outplayed them for 3 quarters, and deserved to win the game. But like I said on the broadcast, good teams find ways to win games they shouldn't, and bad teams lose games they should probably win.
Calgary got their heart ripped out in Montreal. They're still talking about it, and that's why I think they're going to have major motivation for tonight. Now, I was on the radio in Edmonton yesterday, and they said, what's it going to take for you to be sold on the Riders? I said, I'm sold. They're 4-0. They're the only unbeaten team left in the CFL. I don't think they're going to win this week, but I will tell you, I think they're a very good football team. What's your thoughts on Riders-Lions Saturday night?
Well, I think that Saskatchewan is evolving into being one of the top, if not the top, right there with Montreal defensive football teams. Their secondary it's for Vernon Adams, it's going to be a test that he hasn't seen yet. And Toronto, who used a lot of the same scheme because of Corey Mace being there, they had 6 interceptions against him last year. Corey Mace's defense did the same thing, 6 interceptions. I think there's, he's going to have a good defense ready for Vernon Adams. Unfortunately, with Shea Pedersen, it's the same thing we talked about. They have to play a kind of game that doesn't put him in position that he has to win the game. They have to be able to run the ball and control it early and stay close. As soon as they get behind by by 2 scores, Mark Mueller's he's gonna lose his patience, as we all would, and he's gonna ask Shea to do things he shouldn't do, and then they're gonna be in trouble. As long as he can play the way he did last week, and he threw a couple balls vertically. I mean, he was able to do that because of the running game, because that keeps those linebackers up, and now you can get those 15 to 18-yard throws. If they can do that, they can stay close. If they get behind early, it's going to be a long day, because I just think Shea Patterson's going to be, he is what he is. He is a backup quarterback filling in, and they have to rely on other things. And some of that is Shea Patterson running. I think they need to get him out on the perimeter and again, do a little bit like what Winnipeg did with Streveler and get him running and that kind of thing. I think he throws better than Streveler. So I think Saskatchewan's a very, very good team. If they go in to BC in this situation, Rod, and they win this, I will anoint them the best team in the league, bar none.
Yeah, we'd have no argument.
They can do that, because this is a difficult call going in there into BC Place and take it. They're coming off they're coming off a bye, aren't they? Is Saskatchewan, were they on a bye last?
No,
week?
They beat Toronto last week. They beat
that's
Toronto
right. They did beat Toronto, and their secondary, that was a great catapult for them into Vernon Adams. So it's going to be a great game. Either way, it's going to be a great game.
Darren Moose and I kicked around Roland Milligan's as an option for MVP. He's got 3 picks, but as you know, defensive players don't normally win that award. I guess lastly, to wind it up, Sunday's Toilet Bowl brought to you by Charmin, Ottawa at Edmonton. The Somebody's Gotta Win Bowl. How about that, Jim? What are your thoughts for what's going to go on at Commonwealth on Sunday?
Well, I think it's a monster huge game for Ottawa, because they're in the cusp right now of what are they? Are they closer to the Ophers, or are they closer to the top? And this game's going to say a lot about it. I think Edmonton, I thought they were the best Opher team, better than Winnipeg. So I think it's going to be a tough game. Edmonton's coming off the bye, and they've had a lot of time. This Ottawa team comes in, and Drew Brown is going to be healthy to play. Here's what my prediction is that if they lose these next 2 games and they go to 2-4, that at 6 games, Jeremiah Mazzoli comes off, and in Game 7, Jeremiah Mazzoli is a starting quarterback for the Ottawa Red Blacks, if they lose the next 2 games to Edmonton. How's that for a hot take?
Hey, how you liking this media thing, by the way? Because Lapo called me the other day, and he's starting to really like it. I think he might be crossing over to the dark side officially. How about you?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I mean, to be able to do what we just did. And I can say things like that, where you can't do that when you're with a team and that kind of thing. So, I love the people I work with. It's just, it's a fantastic thing. I get a chance to really watch the league and then give out a different view than, Davis was a player and Milt was a player. Matt Dunnigan, I can give a different view, and that to me is a lot of fun. And we get into some good scuffles up on the panel, because Milt has a way of seeing things, and I see it normally differently as a management person. So I love it.
It was always missing a coach, and Dunnigan doesn't count, and you can tell him that. He's a quarterback. You guys are starting to rival Marty York, Obi, and E.T. back in the day. That was pretty damn good, too.
Wow.
But that's, I would say, man, you're bringing back the relevance of the intermission panels, Jim, thank you. Enjoy the games. Look forward to next week.
I love your shirt. I can't wait to get my RP shirt. I'm going to look it up right now.
We'll get you one.
Where I go.
Absolutely. We'll get you one. Thanks, Jim.
I'll wear
Jim
it
Barker
all over
from the
Toronto.
Oh, awesome. From the CFL on TSN. We can get him a blue and white one. We sent the sports doctor one in Winnipeg. It's in bomber colors, and he said he can't believe the reaction he gets in Winnipeg. All positive.